I couldn't believe my eyes. Apparently, CNN has fact checked Kamala Harris. Now, the reason I couldn't believe my eyes is that I thought that the Democrats are the only ones capable in human history of producing a politician that just doesn't lie. I mean, I have never heard of a Democrat lying before Elon Musk took over Twitter and they got fact checked. But like before that, every time Joe Biden opened his mouth, he would only speak the truth. And it was the people that disagreed with him that were spreading wild conspiracy theories, disinformation, and misinformation. But other than that, again, like usually the establishment politicians, they only speak the truth and nothing but the truth. In fact, I don't even know if they would have to swear on a Bible if they're ever summoned in court because they're politicians and they're with the establishment. They never lie. So seeing CNN fact checking Kamala Harris was a little bit bewildering, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, look, they're turning on her. Look, CNN is finally had enough." No, that's not the case. Like, you need to understand, despite the fact that it's quite obvious that, at least in America, the mainstream media is very biased, occasionally, every now and then, it does add to their credibility if they pretend at least to be somewhat neutral. So while they are going to fact check Trump 100% of the time, if they fact check Kamala Harris at least like 10% of the time, then it gives the idea of neutrality. And notice how they're not fact checking on important things and they're not actually pressing her on important things. I mean, there is just so much you can do. Like, for instance, you can point out that Trump has had almost the same number of assassinations as Kamala Harris had interviews. And I think, like, for a politician, that would be a problem. Like, why is the politician afraid of the press? Why doesn't the politician want to go in front of the reporters and answer a couple of questions? And you would think, like, the media themselves would pressure her on this. You'd think that the media themselves, which actually get money from ratings and have their own audience that would like to see what the potential future president of the United States has to talk on matters of, I don't know, policy. I know policy isn't as important as social issues. I mean, everyone can starve in economic destitution as long as we have the correct moral framework, right? But still, it would be at least interesting somewhat to see what she has to say on policy. It would also be interesting in having reporters ask her, it's like, okay, well, you want to make a lot of changes and you're saying that you can turn the country around, but like, you're vice president now. Why haven't you done it up until now? And she could say, well, I couldn't do it because I was vice president. I wasn't the president. And the reporter could then follow up. It's like, yeah, but we noticed that the Democrat Party, the moment that Joe Biden was becoming inconvenient, you managed to persuade him to step down. Like, why couldn't you do that on economic issues and economic policy? If you genuinely think that you have a better idea and that the country wasn't run in a correct manner up until now, why didn't the Democrat Party, Now, maybe she has an answer for this. Maybe she can actually convince the reporters on why she has a point. But this conversation doesn't even happen. It doesn't even take place. And the media isn't even upset that this doesn't take place. It seems to me that constantly they're ignoring this issue. That she barely had any interviews, that she barely talks about policy, and when she does talk about policy, it's ridiculous. Her whole campaign is structured as if she is the underdog. As if the Republicans have been in charge up until now, and she is coming in order to fix the country. This is how the framework seems like from the outside, and the mainstream media doesn't seem to have a problem with this. So when you show me an article that it's like, oh, well, CNN has fact-checked Harris's campaign, give me a fucking break. Like, what exactly did they fact-check her on? Let's see. Apparently, according to this, on August the 17th, like how many days has it been? Like almost a month, right? A post from her suggested that Trump has gotten confused about what state he was in during an event. The post said, Trump, would that be okay? North Carolina, and he is in Pennsylvania. It included a 6-second video clip in which Trump said while pointing to his left, would that be okay? And apparently adding context, It shows that earlier in the speech, Trump had pointed to the same spot on his left to acknowledge, then speak to a group of ardent supporters from North Carolina. Like, again, how many people even care or know about this? Like, there is a major difference between Trump and Joe Biden. With Joe Biden, you would listen to a whole speech and you would realize that there may be some problems. You would realize that he is reading from a prompter. You'd realize that almost everything is fake. You'd realize from his body language and the gaffes that he was making that something is not okay. Meanwhile, with Trump, despite the fact that he is old, you do not have a Joe Biden situation. To be honest, I'm actually surprised that the Democrats aren't accusing Trump of being old and they're not playing that card. Because for a while there were, like when he picked up a glass of water or when he clinged to a general as he went down a ramp. All the media was in an uproar over this, right? Meanwhile, Joe Biden falling down the stairs of the airplane, it was just mentioned and immediately memory hold. Which, again, is why people are now saying, oh, wow, CNN is doing actual journalism. It's not. It's the bare minimum. It's not even that. Like, if you compare with how many articles they wrote fact-checking Donald Trump and his campaign versus how many articles they wrote on Kamala Harris, it would give the illusion, as I mentioned before, that Kamala Harris is probably the only politician on Earth in human history that never lies, is never misinformed. Like, unlike other human beings that, occasionally they get it wrong now and then, even if they have good intentions. No, Kamala Harris is the exception. Like, she just cannot physically lie. It's like in that comedy with Jim Carrey, where the son is making a wish on his birthday so that the father can't lie, and Jim Carrey is a lawyer, and the wish comes through, and he, like, physically cannot lie, and he has to win a case without lying. But, what's also interesting is the way that politics is done in 2024. And here is the exact thing. It's, a small clip from Donald Trump, right? Like a 6-second video clip. And this is pretty much what politics comes down to nowadays. It's not about debates. It's not about presenting arguments. It's not about the economy. It's the viral 6-second video taken out of context. And I really despise this thing, because when you look at people, you don't even have to look around us. You can even look at yourself, because all human beings are like that. It is impossible to go through life without at one point saying something monumentally stupid. Like at one point when you're having a pint with a friend, you say something incredibly edgy, or you say something that doesn't make sense, or you say something morally apprehensible that would get you ostracized from polite circles. And there's various reasons why people say these things. Like maybe they didn't think properly before opening their mouth. Maybe they were trying to make a joke and it came off bad. Or maybe they were just trying to be monumentally edgy and they were way too successful at it. But like it happens to everyone, Like if you're on planet Earth for more than 20 years, you will have those moments. And if those moments happen to be recorded and uploaded online, then apparently that moment defines your character now. Right? So because of this, people demand politicians that are perfect, and they never have any of these moments. So what they get instead, since no human being is perfect, they get human beings that lie. And they get all of this fakeness, where people are surrounded by PR, where people refuse to give interviews, where people refuse to have debates, because they do not want that 6-second clip that can ruin their career. And, it doesn't really matter, like, the type of person that you are. Like, it doesn't really matter if normally you don't even hold that belief and you just said it once, or, for instance, the Blizzard thing. It's like, don't you guys have phones, right? It sounds really bad, and there is no way out once you said it. Like, there is nothing that you can do in order to take it back. Now, the reason the guy said it, I actually know, because I spoke with someone behind the scenes, and the reason he said it is because he was too emotional in the moment, and he noticed that the crowd was booing, didn't expect that, so he wanted to say something in order to, like, try to change the atmosphere. And obviously, he fucked up. But is that soundbite, is that clip that can just destroy reputations? And the public has no mercy. Like, they do not believe in redemption. They do not believe in a change of heart or anything. Like, there is absolutely nothing you can do from a PR perspective to come back from that, which is why politicians are now aware on how the world works. And, you know, like, while the public would expect perfect people, they're not going to get that because that doesn't exist. And instead, what they are going to get is the PR teams, is the prompter that the politicians have to read on, is the refusal of going and having debates, is the refusal to answer to journalists' questions. And that's what the public fucking deserves, honestly. Like, with this type of behavior, if you're just going to look at a couple of clips taken out of context and you're going to think, okay, well, this defines this human being, then yeah, you do deserve fakeness. And I think we're going to see more of that. Like, I think we're moving towards a period where politicians will give even fewer interviews. And when they do, everything is going to be pre-planned. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.